that there are different contexts, resources, that I'd like you to look at these activities and really think about how you might be able to use them as they are, or adapt them, or use them in a slightly different way to suit your particular teaching and learning contexts. So, listening is one of those skills that, in my experience, learners of English as a foreign language have great difficulty in terms of in the classroom. They often listen to professionally created audio scripts that you hear either through CD-ROMs in the old days, the cassette tapes. Sorry, in my day when I started, we had cassette tapes that you physically had to play, rewind, forward wind, find the right spot. And if you didn't have a counter, then that was a big problem because you ended up playing the wrong thing, going back and forth. These days, of course, we have digitally prepared materials, listening files, but learners do have difficulty with that. They block on listening for different reasons, in my experience. So we're going to look at those reasons for that fear factor, if you like. We're going to look at some activities, and as we go through the activities, you'll find there's a worksheet, and if you don't have access to this worksheet, I would like to ask Andrew or Jerry to help me hand out extra copies that I have here. I did 70, and I thought that was wishful thinking, but actually... Thank you. So, as we go through the activities, I'd like you to be looking at that sheet, and they all have different titles. That's just what I've named them, but you can call them whatever you like. But a way of thinking about how you could use them, about whether the activities are useful for before your students listen. Maybe there are activities you could use while your students are listening. They may be activities you could do after they've listened. Or think of which activities you could do pre, during, or post. Think about the aim of the activities, so what is the point? The level that you might be able to use them with, and any other comments, so whether you could adapt them, any thoughts on how to modify them in any way. But first of all, we're going to look at the reasons for the fear factor, why students find listening a challenge, or why they have a fear of listening, and the difficulties that they experience. So the reasons behind the fear factor. You have blank paper. I think you should have enough that everybody has a piece of blank paper. So with nothing on it. If you could just allocate one person to take the notes, and the others brainstorm the reasons why learners of whatever age have a fear factor of listening. They block when it comes to listening activities. So how many people at each table are going to write? One. Okay, what are the others going to do? Just sit there and eat their fruit? No. You're going to brainstorm, okay? Yalla, I'll give you roughly 3 minutes to have a go at that.
can be from the teacher also. One-to-one also. Yeah, that's time factor.
Speed of processing.
Missing out the keywords, maybe they scale
One of the major disadvantages can be visual learners. For them, audio is visual So visual learners have major problem in visual learning.
Yes, yeah, I
Basically, lack of attention span is a major thing. You'll be able to pay attention more than 5 seconds. You'll be restless.
Quality of the audio, the clarity, how clear it is.
yes.
Thank you. Right, so they may have different reasons for blocking when it comes to listening, finding it a challenge, to having a fear factor. Can you perhaps give me a few ideas? Not a monologue, but just words will do, 1 or 2 words. So, anybody? Speed, thank you.
Learn style.
Thank you, sorry?
Learn style.
Thank you. Learning styles. Can you all hear? I don't want to just echo people. If you can hear, then I won't.
Clarity of the sound and distraction.
Thank you. Good.
Don't like the subject.
Right. Thank you.
Unfamiliar thoughts.
All right.
Unfamiliar thoughts.
Thank you.
They're not very patient in listening. They just want to get on with it, and
Right.
Yeah, the lack of attention span.
lack of attention span.
Thank you.
How familiar the students are with the connected speech and illusion assimilation and other sources.
Lovely.
They lack the skills, so they want to get everything, all the details, and they're trying too hard.
Oh, they want to understand every little thing.
They don't really understand the teacher's accent.
Yeah.
There are a few. Okay, most of which I think you came up with. Connected speech, that's my big thing. Accent, yeah. A lot of those, I think motivation of the topic, I think that's something I didn't put there, but I would agree that the topic obviously will either generate or not interest in the topic, so. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to that list that isn't there? I'm not saying it's...
In school situation, it can be fear for teacher.
Right.
They
You.
don't listen.
Would that be you? I can't
Said it was
imagine for a minute they'd be frightened. You. Really? No. Okay. We're going to watch and listen. I'm a little scared that the volume is either going to blast you through the windows there or not. so we'll see. I think I have a volume control on here. So we'll see how we go. But for now, I'm going to play the video. What I would like you to tell me is, who are the people, the protagonists, the players, who are the people in the video? Not the actors' names, but who they play. I could just hear Basil Fawlty going on.
Well, there is too much butter on those trays. There is too much butter on those trays.
No, senor. Not on those trays. No, sir. Uno, dos, tres.
Hay mucho burro allí.
Okay?
Hay mucho burro allí.
Ah, mantequilla.
What?
Okay? Mantequilla. Burro is burro.
Manuel, por favor, momento.
Sí.
Nothing, dear, I'm just dealing with it.
You speak good, how you say? English.
Mantequilla. Solamente dos.
Dos.
Well, don't look at me. You're the one who's supposed to be able to speak it.
Two pieces. Two each. Arriba.
Oh, I don't know why you wanted to hire him, Basil.
Because he's cheap and keen to learn, dear, in this day and age.
Why did you say you could speak the language?
I learned classical Spanish, not the strange dialect he seems to have picked up.
We're going to train a monkey.
Okay. So who were the people in that video? Aywa. Waiter. All right, fine. So, what I would like you to do is to take a role. You have your roles now. What did we say there were? The waiter, manager, secretary in a hotel, maybe the receptionist, or I think also she was maybe his wife. Okay. So I'd like you to take a role each. One of you, you could do this in threes then. So if you have a table of 6, that's easily divisible. If not, somehow arrange yourselves in threes. I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to dictate. If you'd rather sit back and watch the show, that's fine. But I'm going to play the video again. As I play it, there will be no sound, but the 3 people who have taken the roles of the manager, the waiter, and the receptionist/wife, you'll need to right, have a voiceover. As you'll see when you see a foreign film sometimes, there's another actor doing the voiceover. You're going to do the same, all right? So, first of all, decide in your threes who is
She's saying many
Manager.
Okay, have you decided your roles? Yes? Now, don't worry, you're all going to do it at the same time, so nobody's listening to you apart from the people around you. Okay? I'll just do a quick check. At this table, gentlemen, who is the manager?
Yes.
Okay, the waiter?
The manager, the waiter,
Are you the wife?
Yeah, I'll be very happy.
Very glamorous. All right, you ready? Are you ready? Sorry? Go.
without too much butter. Without too much butter.
Thank you. Right. Now, usually I would ask for a volunteer, so if there is any trio, any three people brave enough to do it in front of 40 or 50 other people. In fact, we've had a count, we've got 53, I think, so 54. So if 3 people are brave enough to do it in front of another 51 people, no? No? Really?
No review. No review.
Okay, all right. However, you have your sheets that I've given you with the different activities. This was voiceover, so if perhaps you could think about and do talk to the other people at your table, maybe is this a pre or during or post listening activity? What was the aim of it? Any level that you could do it with? Either it could be this video or any video that you choose, but also, does it address any of those fear factors? Does it help to minimize those blocks, to help reduce that level of fear or that filter?
after the listening. Can these products we are going to we are not how can it help overcome the difficulty they face? Why? Tries to
Okay, because of time, I'm not going to spend too much time getting feedback from your feedback. The trust, I'm sure, with your experience, that you've shared some useful ideas about level, about the aim of the activity. But I'd like to think a little bit about the fear factor. Why did that activity, perhaps, I hope, reduce the fear factor? Yes. All right.
Because when you asked us to present it in front of everybody, although we're professional
Then you
givers, we did.
Okay.
We did have a copy of the two of us.
All right.
Also,
Yes.
your assessment, they will be doing that we should like really and you know it. Just try to see what they are listening to.
Was it fun? Thank you. Right. Okay. Thanks. I'm going to play you a bit of music now. I'd like you to tell me what it makes you think of. What does that make you think of?
James Bond.
Right. What other words come to mind when you think of James Bond? Sorry?
The movies.
Movies? What about him? What about
His
Uh-huh.
His charms.
intelligent?
Hot.
Debonair? Hot. Okay. All right. Uh-huh.
risk.
Okay. All right. British doesn't. I think what has come round, thank you, Andrew, is a pack. In that pack, you should find some pictures, if I'm not mistaken.
You have no mistake. And then wishes.
And what I would like you to do, if you don't have access or you can't see the pictures, please move in and join a table that has the pictures. Apologies if that's where you've got to stretch a little bit. I'm going to play a story. I'd like you to listen to the James Bond story and put the pictures in the order according to the sequence of events in the story. You have to make sure that you listen carefully because the volume is slightly low.
When James his windows were closed, Bond switched it off and opened the windows. His heart was still thumping in his chest. He breathed in the air with relief, then had a shower and went to bed. At 3:30 he was dreaming, not very peacefully, of 3 black-coated men with red eyes and angry white teeth, when suddenly he woke up. He listened. There was a noise. It was coming from the window. Someone was moving behind the curtains. James Bond took his gun from under his pillow, got quietly out of bed, and crept slowly along the wall towards the window. Someone was breathing behind the curtains. Bond pulled them back with one quick movement. Golden hair shone silver in the moonlight.
Mary, good night. What are you doing here?
Quick, James, help me in.
Bond put down his gun and tried to pull her through the open window. At the last moment, her foot caught in the curtain, and the window banged shut with a noise like a gunshot. Bond cursed again.
I'm terribly sorry, James.
Shh! He quickly led her across the room to the bathroom. He turned on the light and the shower. They sat down on the side of the bath.
What are you doing here? What's the matter?
James, I was so worried. A most immediate message came from HQ this evening. A top KGB man, using the name Hendricks, is staying at this hotel. I knew you were looking for him, but he knows you're here. He's looking for you.
I know. That man's here all right. So is a gunman called Scaramanga. Mary, did HQ say if Hendricks has got a description of me?
No, he hasn't. You are just described as Secret Agent James Bond.
Thanks, Mary. Now, I must get you out of here. Don't worry about me. Just tell HQ that you gave me the message, okay?
Okay, James. Please, take care, James.
Sure.
Bond turned off the shower and opened the bathroom door.
Now, come on.
A voice came from the darkness of the bedroom. This is not your lucky day, Mr. Bond. Come here, both of you. Put your hands up. Scaramanga walked to the door and turned.
Oh, dear. And I don't know who that was at the end of it. However, I've forgotten who it was. Were you able to put the pictures in order?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to listen one more time. This time, and I'm not going to check you put them in the right order, but obviously you would maybe have groups check other groups to see if you all agree that you put it in the right order. Now we're going to listen again. This time I want you to use your blank piece of paper and write down just 5 words from the story. 5 words each. So if you are a table of 4, that would mean in total 20 words. Okay, so each person 5 words.
85 words?
Those
85 words?
any 5 words, but the words should be content words. That would mean a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb. Not an article or prepositional word that really doesn't carry any significant. Okay, so how many words each? Thank you.
James Bond found himself unshaken. It was midnight. His windows were closed and the air conditioning was on. Bond switched it off and opened the windows. His heart was still thumping in his chest. He breathed in the air with relief, then had a shower and went to bed. At 3:30 he was dreaming, not very peacefully, of 3 black-coated men with red eyes and angry white teeth, when suddenly he woke up. He listened. There was a noise. It was coming from the window. Someone was moving behind the curtains. James Bond took his gun from under his pillow, got quietly out of bed, and crept slowly along the wall towards the window. Someone was breathing behind the curtains. Bond pulled them back with one quick movement. Golden hair shone silver in the moonlight.
Mary, good night. What are you doing here?
Quick, James, help me in.
Bond put down his gun and tried to pull her through the open window. At the last moment, her foot caught in the curtain, and the window banged shut with a noise like a gunshot. Bond cursed again.
I'm terribly sorry, James.
Shh! He quickly led her across the room to the bathroom. He turned on the light and the shower. They sat down on the side of the bath.
What are you doing here? What's the matter?
James, I was so worried. A most immediate message came from HQ this evening. A top KGB man using the name Hendricks is staying at this hotel. I knew you were looking for him, but he knows you're here. He's looking for you.
I know. That man's here all right. So is a gunman called Scaramanga. Mary, did HQ say if Hendricks has got a description of me?
No, he hasn't. You were just described as Secret Agent James Bond.
Thanks, Mary. Now, I must get you out of here. Don't worry about me. Just tell HQ that you gave me the message, okay?
Okay, James. Please, take care, James.
Sure.
Bond turned off the shower and opened the bathroom door.
Now come on.
A voice came from the darkness of the bedroom. This is not your lucky day, Mr. Bond. Come here, both of you. Put your hands up. Scaramanga walked to the door and turned off the lights.
And started laughing. So now, what could I do with those 5 words that you've all got? You've all got different, possibly different. Some of you will probably have some of the same. What kind of thing could you then do with those 5 words or 20 words? So you could exactly recreate the story in your own words. Okay. That one was called Picture Puzzle, was the first activity where you put the pictures in order. Could you think about, and again fill in with a few words in your worksheet, how you could use it, the aim, The second of the activities was picking up the pieces, I think I called it. Yeah, so over the page, picking up the pieces was using the 5 words and putting them all together and recreating. So again, think about that one, how you might adapt it, what level you might use it for, what was the aim primarily.
The aim of the 5 words that we talked
Yeah.
about.
The aim of that activity, where you write down 5 words and you recreate the story. Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, this is just so that you come away remembering what the activities were as well, because if you come away with a blank sheet, you won't remember which. So whatever you want to fill in there is fine. Okay. All right. Again, I think collectively, I'm sure that you've come up with a few notes or things. Part of this, the reason for this worksheet is also to help you remember what the activities were. All of the materials will be going up on our website, www.iatefl.org. So don't worry, you'll have the presentation as well as the worksheet, and in the presentation the videos and the audios are built in. So you will have access to that afterwards, or .org. Okay, you've got a picture up on the screen there. Where do you think those children are? Aha, in the classroom. Thanks. And where do you think that classroom might be?
Eastern Asia.
Aha. Japan, you think? Why? Why do you say Japan?
Facial expression.
Yes, okay. It might be, you can see. Alright. Well, if you're familiar enough to know, it might be kanji. So it might be the Chinese characters. China, I think, has 3 alphabets, hiragana, katakana, and kanji. So depending on how familiar you are with the script. Any other reason why you think it's a Japanese school?
The writings of the world.
I'm hearing organized, traditional.
The writings.
Yeah, in England the ties would be kind of up there. So, okay. Okay, you use the word traditional, organized. What attitude do they think they have towards their teachers?
And the teachers?
Respect. If it's an environment where everybody follows the rules, what kind of adjective could you use or noun to use for a classroom where there is a lot of discipline? Okay. If you open up the envelopes, you will find some words there. One of them, I think, is discipline, respect, politeness. Ah, okay. And I'd like you to put them in the middle of your table in just a random arrangement. So not in any particular order, just randomly. No order, just mix them up.
Yeah.
Okay, you're all very ordered people. Just mix them up.
This word, I think, this one has two different.
As you listen,
the meaning of bow and bow, according to the meaning.
As you listen, if you hear one of those words, you need to grab it before you don't throw it. Grab it and keep it.
Shall we stand up?
Maybe it's mistaken.
It's like competition on the table. If you want to stand up, it's okay. Whatever you feel is going to give you an advantage. Neil's already up on his feet. Are you ready?
Respect.
Life in a Japanese school.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Worldly Wise, the programme that looks at the world we live in. Today, we have with us Graham Grant. Graham is now back working in England, teaching Japanese, after 2 years teaching English in Japan. We want to find out from him about life in a Japanese school. Graham, we all know that education is important in every country, but they say that in Japan, it is even more important. Is this true?
Well, yes, I think it is true, for lots of reasons, but I think there is one main reason.
And what is that?
I think it's the Japanese attitude to jobs.
Surely a good job is important to most people.
Yes, of course, but in this country, Britain, for example, I think many people expect to, and perhaps want to, try more than one job in their lives. You can try lots of things until you find the right job. In Japan, it's different. Most jobs are for life. People usually stay with the same company from the time they leave school or university until they retire. So the children must do well at school to get a good job when they leave, because after that it's too late.
Doesn't this mean that they have to work hard?
Yes, it does. The hard work starts at 12 when they leave primary school and move to junior high school.
What happens there?
Well, the atmosphere is different from primary school. It's less relaxed and more competitive. About 40 pupils in class, and discipline is quite strict. Pupils sit in rows, and before each lesson they stand up and bow to the teacher, just as all Japanese people bow to each other when they meet. Politeness and respect. The teacher talks and the children listen and they don't ask questions. It's considered rude.
You're cheating.
They're cheating.
I'm not thinking this. Could you pass that
Did you get all the words? Were there any left? So we haven't finished yet, then, have we?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, because of time, going to move on. So who was the winner? This table, I'm not sure you were exactly following the rules.
Yes. Expect contains exactly. They are cheating. He's a bit cheater.
I don't, you know, some funny business going on. Okay. Wow. 4. Anyone get more than 4? And you were a group of 3s, really? Respect. All right. Then on your worksheets, that's called the grab game. And of course, you could pick any words that you want from that list.
Even our bar.
Thanks so much. Have to take back the money, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jerry, watch those guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing. Sorry, Jerry.
Oh, again?
Up and down. Not a moment to rest.
The rest for the weekend. One table. Oh, one person, one slip.
So they all have
Another sheet? All right, yes, some more. Everybody gets one each. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because we have a big cheater here. Tell us about it. Yeah, honest.
the others will go to one each. Anyone who doesn't. So if you don't have what do you call it? My English has gone. If you don't have a flight number and destination, please let the guys know, Andrew and Pavel. Put your hand up. There should be one for everybody.
Yes.
If there are any extras, each person should have one.
One each.
One only. See, guys, you've done it again. What you doing? One.
We think that we have sheets.
One. There should then. Has everybody got one? Andy, there should be one extra. There are 54 people, there are 55 strips. Strip, that was the word. Should be one over. Wow, your maths is pretty good. The guy in the picture, What's he doing? Right, he looks a little bit stressed. Around the room, you've got some numbers. What do you think they represent?
Flight number.
You count a gate number.
Gate number. Okay. Right. There are two gate 14s. I guess you could go to whichever you like. You're going to listen to some flight information. You have your flight here. I've got LH309 to Miami. And I'm going to wait to hear my gate number. So what are you going to do if you hear your gate number?
Rush to your gate number.
Where are the gate numbers? And honestly, your listening skills are slightly dubious.
Tape script 14.6.
British Airways Flight BA 516 to Geneva, boarding at Gate 4, last call. Flight BA 516 to Geneva, last call. Scandinavian Airlines Flight SK 832 to Frankfurt, delay 1 hour. Flight SK 832 to Frankfurt, delayed 1 hour. Air France Flight 472 to Amsterdam is now boarding at Gate 17. Flight AF 472 to Amsterdam, now boarding Gate 17. Lufthansa Flight 309 to Miami is now boarding at Gate 32. Flight LH 309 to Miami, now boarding Gate 32. Virgin Airlines Flight to New York, VS 876 to New York. Please wait in the departure lounge until a further announcement. Thank you. Passengers are reminded to keep their hand luggage with them at all times.
Thank you.
We are not going to travel.
You're not going, I'm sorry. You're not going
حبيبي حتى حطي لي طيارة. نفسك سافرت. كان نفسي أروح بقى. Yes, it's very
It was fantastic. Your flying cars.
Again, you have your worksheets. This was called walkabout. Getting you up out of your seats, walking about. Think about the reason for doing that, how it helped to reduce that fear factor. What other ways you could do it? Could you use station announcements in the train station for those who have such things? Or what other kind of announcement could you use? Could you vary it? Could you do something more with it after having done that? I got you all just to sit down again. Well, how could you follow that up? Look at your worksheet, think about it for just a minute or two. That was called walkabout.
Tuna. What do they mean by tuna?
One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There, gents.
Fresh, active, sleeping, all is gone. It's a nice break. After that, we start.
Thanks. All right. Good. Does he have a wide angle? So, how could you change that up, follow it up? What sort of thoughts did you have on that one, particularly?
It will need a bigger area rather than our classroom.
Right, not
Yes.
always good for a
Yeah.
class of 40 or
Exactly.
60 students or whatever you might have.
A
So,
smaller group.
right, okay, yeah, quite even quite difficult in this room, even though the setup is quite nice. I've got
And this
54
will help
people.
to reduce the boredom level, the same monotonous, so it
Uh-huh.
will, something new, something change.
I'll need two people here to try this dialogue out, if you can see. Was that you volunteering, Conan? Were you scratching your head? Okay. It's all right, you can stay where you are, as long as you have a powerful, booming voice. All right. And, oh yes? Okay, and you feel you've got a nice, powerful voice?
I hope so.
Okay, well, one of you is A, and one of you is B. Okay, all you've got here are words. They're not sentences, but in fact they should be, but often we might just speak in words. But what do we use in our voice that helps us to understand our attitude? Or okay, so I'd like you, one of you to be A and one to be B. So who's going to be A? Conan, or you're going to be A, all right? And if you could be Akid, yeah? All right, there's no C. All right. Do you want to start off, Conan?
Afternoon.
Hi.
Okay.
Fine.
Good. Coffee?
Nice. Yes.
Interesting?
Great.
Ideas?
Plenty.
Thank you. Your certificates are outside for having come along today. We have them for those that pre-registered. If you didn't pre-register and you turned up today, please tell the gentleman at the desk and he will take your details, or we may have some blank ones, but that will mean they're filled in by hand. If you're comfortable with that, I'm not quite sure what the setup is out there. But now, if you have any questions about today's activities, about the rationale behind some of them, any ideas you'd like to share, please feel free now to ask. No? Oh, yes?
Could you say a little more about the last one?
Well, the last one, because you'll find when, well, I find, rather, I don't want to generalize, that when students carry out dialogues, they tend not to either use or use so much, productively use intonation to support the dialogue, whether it be attitudinal intonation, which is about expressing your attitude through your voice patterns in terms of your intonation, rise and fall, etc. They tend not to recognize grammatical intonation or use it. So a yes-no question where it probably goes up at the end usually, or an open question where it may go down at the end. And intonation is a very important part of sounding more natural, if you like, but also being sure that you're not misunderstood. Misuse of intonation can lead to quite a few communication problems, misunderstandings. You might come across as rude. So it's quite a useful way of introducing intonation lightly. A lot of teachers, and this is arguably, they back away from teaching intonation. But by integrating it subtly in a fun way like this, it's trying to raise their awareness of the importance of intonation and its impact on meaning and how that comes across when you're communicating to somebody. Okay, well, I've wrapped up. Thank you. Apologies for the rather cramped conditions. I'm very, very thankful that we have the numbers that we have today, but apologies if you're slightly, squeezed into the space. However, I appreciate you coming along. Please pick up your certificates. Before you leave, I do have, if you can have a QR code reader, and you can, scan this QR code, it will take you to a feedback form. Grateful if you could do that on your way out. I will leave it up there. Or, here is the link, which obviously will take about 10 hours to type in if you're as bad as I am with my big fat thumb trying to fill in a website address. Or the QR code, as I say, if you can scan that, you have a QR code reader. It will take you to a feedback form for today's session. If you have come from, and I'm not being, I am kind of excluding my Qatar University colleagues, but I'm sorry for that. Because of the numbers today, we have these lovely goodie bags provided by CNAQ. I think if you are a QU instructor or somebody from QU, if you could bypass the goodie bag, I would be very grateful, as we're a key stakeholder here. Also, if you are from CNAQ, I think reasonably, if we could provide these bags to our guests, those who are not CNAQ or QU, then there should be enough for everybody. So please help yourself to a goodie bag. If you do not have access to a QR code reader, or you cannot be bothered to write in this address, we have some tablets coming around with the feedback form, if you could fill that in.